Good evening to each and everyone gathered here for today's webinar. In this episode of Equity Outlook, our Chief Investment Officer, Mr. Sunil Sir, would be providing us his opinion of the market going forward. After a quick recap of the market's performance in the previous month, he would be providing us a strategy we should adopt forward in this volatile market. Towards the end, we'll also be having a Q&A session. Over to you, Mr. Sunil.
Hey, thanks a lot, Jason, and very warm welcome. Normally, I do this webinar on first day of the month, but I'm doing on the end of the month for the very simple reason we have another webinar being lined up tomorrow. And I thought it's a good thing. And see how the market sentiment change, which I keep talking about, why equity is all about non-linear returns. And this is how the market is, mood is. If I were making this presentation yesterday, the mood would have been different altogether. There was a gloom and doom scenario, kind of a scenario with a lot of investors having worried about what's going to happen to the Indian equity market. And as I speak to you today, the mood is different. And that's how the market behaves. So the mood in the market is very, very fickle. And hence, I have been kept saying time and again that please get out of that noise that is bothering you. That noise will force you to take a decision which you are not supposed to take decision. And equity, the wealth from the equity cannot be created by the noise. You need to stay away from the noise, focus on what you are planning to achieve, and focus on that. The up and down is a part and parcel of the market, and it's very, very obvious. So don't get too much concerns. And if the market is the volatility is going to bother you, it's making you a little nervous, either you should stay away from the equity market or you should learn art of making volatility as your friend. Because these are the two choices that you have, and I think I would always prefer the second option as a choice, making volatility as a friend. If you remember, I had stated very clearly on 1st September 2022. So I did many predictions, okay? But the two predictions came exactly on the dot. I did predict, don't expect market to give very strong returns in the month of September, am I right? And why did I say? Because market had gone up substantially up post mid-June. We saw gain in the month of July and we saw robust gain in the month of August. And based on that, it was very unfair to expect that market would continue to give returns, positive returns, even in the month of September. I did predict that market will remain little subdued. Returns would be subdued for the month of September. That's exactly what has happened. Of course, for the benefit of everyone, we will play that clip. Another thing which we did actually predict that metal index did extremely well last month. That is for the month of August. And I did mention that do not expect this kind of returns to be made next month for the very simple logical reason. So whenever we give our prediction, we give with a logical reason. And the reason I did give that if the world economy is going to slow down, there is little reason for industrial commodity to do well. And if the industrial commodity are not going to do well, there is no reason the companies that are involved in those business are going to do well, isn't it? And that's why. So very quickly, we will run what we stated on 1st September 2022, and then I'll come to today's agenda, Equity Outlook, where I'm going to talk about how do I see the market going forward. Jason, can we quickly run those clip, please?
Sure.
If you remember, I stated the gain in the month of August would be lower than the July, and that's exactly what has happened. And I do get a sense that September would be a little subdued as compared to August. Why? Because we have seen a very smart rally since mid-June, and hence I do expect some amount of profit booking taking place or coming in during the September 2022. Metal index for a change did extremely well. And this is despite, if you look at on month, there has not been much of a change in the copper and the steel prices. But aluminum price did move up, but there was no reason. And I do get a sense that some amount of what we call the people saw the valuation taking so much beating. So some kind of a value buying seems to have happened. Is it going to sustain? Looks a little doubtful for the very simple reason, because the underlying commodities prices have remained a little soft. And what has happened in the global economy, where the China or the US, I think it would be a challenge for the material index to continue. But we'll wait and watch what happens in the month of September. So this is what, of course, we did go wrong in two places. One is that FII have net sellers in this market in this month, for the month of September. And I think this selling has happened more due to the 75 bips rate hike, which was announced by Fed, that really turned the table, and a lot of FIs decided to park the funds in the US market. Why? Because the safe money giving you 2 years treasury gives you more than 4% yield. Makes a lot of sense for them to basically do that. But on the first half of September 2022, they were positive on the Indian equity market. That was one that where I think we have gone little this one. So that's the thing. So now let's come back to the equity outlook. How do we see the market now going forward? Will this market going to be little challenging, as volatile as what we saw in the month of September, or should we expect some relief going forward? Do we maintain that market should be much better, the sentiment should be much better by October, that is Diwali to 2022, or not? Which we'll all cover. But before that, let me put a disclaimer. Okay, this webinar is only for an education purpose. Whenever you invest in the equity market, it does carry a little higher amount of risk, and past performance should not be construed as an indicator for the future returns. With this, what was the September? How did the market behave in the September? Market did, as expected, did see a correction, and correction was, fortunately, market went up by almost 2%. Otherwise, this cut would have been almost 5%. But after accounting for today's gain, for the month of September index, both Nifty and Sensex lost near about 3%. What has happened? Realty, energy, finance, and IT, they were the big underperformer. For a change, pharma and FMCG, the only two sectors that were in. So if you remember last month, August, almost each and every sector were in green. This time, almost everyone is in red except pharma, and that's why we keep saying non-linear returns. Am I right? They were positive, marginally positive. On 31st March 2022, we did a webinar on with realty index. And if you remember, at that point of time, I did mention at that point of time, a lot of you people were a little positive. And of course, we'll try to play that clip maybe in future. Today, we don't have that clip. But I do remember that we did that webinar and we said that realty index should underperform significantly going forward, for the very simple reason, because rate of interest goes up, your EMI goes up. We did mention that rate sensitive sectors will underperform going forward. That's exactly what has happened. Some profit booking we did see on energy. Sector did well till August, and in September we did some profit booking. Finance did come under pressure, and IT sector continues to remain little challenging. In fact, it's one sector that has significantly underperformed in 2022 purely because of higher attrition rate. And second thing, there is a belief, it's not clearly concluding observation right till now, but there is a belief that the customers in US and UK will slow down on their IT budgets, and that could impact the demand for the IT services for the Indian companies. FIS did sold till yesterday 7,600 crore in the cash market. The sale is more due to the second half post-Fed hike. Otherwise, they were really doing extremely well. The market risk appetite has completely gone down purely post 75 bips rate hike by the Fed, and purely because of risk off strategy coming in from risk on strategy. On the top of it, UK announcing tax cut on the personal income tax did create another fear that UK could basically go into more problem because how are they going to fund their deficits if the rate cut is been announced? And that created another fear for the global markets. So global market did impact to some extent Indian market sentiment also, and that normally happens, but for very temporarily. The global impact doesn't last for long, and that's what we have observed time and again, because ultimately the domestic growth story also has to play its role to get the for investors to decide the which way the market is going to perform. Today, RBI did hike 50 bips rate hike, and if you remember, we did mention last time that we are expecting 35 to 50 bips rate hike from the RBI in the next monetary policy, and they did 50 bips. One of the reasons is not the concerns on inflation. I think the big reason why inflation went 50 bips rate hike purely because they want to protect rupee. Rupee did come under pressure, and now it's gone very closer to 82 rupees. That does create, and I think the RBI also has a mandate to see that rupee doesn't behave in a very extreme volatile manner. And that's RBI governor also admitted in his speech that they don't want highly volatile rupee this one. Dollar index went up 112, I think 2 decades high, creating a lot of. Fortunately for India, Brent crude corrected by 10%. And if you remember, we have been saying time and again that we do expect crude oil to go down to $80 per barrel, and that we've been making statements somewhere in the month of June did come true. And that's the thing. And reason is very simple, because of the weak global demand for the crude. OPEC has announced production cut, and a lot of things would be depending upon what US decide. Would they decide to end that strategic reserves, 1 lakh barrel that they are releasing? Do they stop post-October or they extend it further? We need to wait and watch, and that would also decide what kind of crude price movement happens. And crude price does impact us both on positive and the negative side. So one good thing that, despite September has been so much volatile, if you look at the average cash segment volume on NSE, it has further increased from August. So August was good as compared to July. In July, we had 46,000 crore, which increased to 58,000 crore. It further increased to 61,000 crore for the month of September. Why? It's very critical to understand why. Because this trend does give an idea whether retail investors are moving away from the market when the markets are volatile. If you remember, in June, and which it will come in my subsequent slides, the NSE case volume went down to as low as 45,000 crore. Okay, so the volume increasing is a very big relief. It does gives an indication that retail investors, you and I, have become more matured. We do understand that market nature is to be volatile. If that is so, let's not take this opportunity to move out of the market, but park more funds. Monsoon has come to an end season almost, and in fact, IMD also mentioned that there are symptoms or indicator that monsoon is withdrawing, and overall it's 7% above LPA, that is long period average. But there is one concern, is that this time the monsoon has been little uneven. In some places we saw excess rain, and in some places we saw unseasonal rain, and that could reduce the food output. RBI governor said that it would be in about 0.4% of the first estimate as compared to last year first estimate. We need to wait and watch to get some clarity how much less agri output would be because of uneven monsoon and what. But another good thing is that Rabi crop should be very, very good. Why? Because the moisture level in the soil is very good, and the water reservoir has a good amount of quantity of water, and hence Rabi crop should be extremely good. But this is the thing which market would definitely look at it, because that could spur inflation. RBI governor did mention that the price of wheat has gone up, price of paddy can go up, that's the rice can go up. And due to unseasonal rain, the price of tomatoes have gone up. I don't know what the price of tomatoes are, but that's what RBI governor says. It seems to have gone up. So how did the market behave in the month of September? Market did touch 60,000. So if you look at it, the first half, market did very well. Am I right? We did basically 58,000 to 60,000. We did go. But then the market did not basically sustain. And then market started going down. And then you can see more red than the green in this one. And markets closing somewhere at 57,000 as compared to 58,000. So we did try to cross 60,000 but could not sustain and went below this one. So from 60,000 to 57,000, we almost saw 3,000 decline post 13 September. 3,000 point decline, almost 5% kind of a stuff from 13 September. How has been the market over longer period of time? If you look at it, July we saw 8.6%, then we saw August 3.4%, and in month of September we saw 3.5%. I do get sense that this number for the September, for the October would give a direction in the positive territory. So while September is down, I do expect October to be positive. And I'll come to that. Why do I believe so? 2 months in a row, the advanced decline ratio have seen declining trend with 1.24, which was there for the month of July, came down to 1.2 and then less than 1 for. So, if anything less than 1 is a little cause of concern. That does gives an indication that overall market sentiment has remained a little subdued. But what we have also observed that whenever the advanced decline ratio went below 1, which happened in March 2021, which happened in August 2021, which happened in February 2022, which happened in May 2022, every time when the advanced decline ratio was less than 1, the next month the advanced decline ratio improved, and that's the thing. So we do expect that even the advanced decline ratio for the month of October should improve, because that's what the trend has been suggesting us. Market cap increased from 270 to 280 to it came down to 272, while it has improved from what it was there 244 lakh crore to 272 lakh crore. It did see some decline of near about 8 lakh crore, purely because of there were more sellers than there were more declines than the increase in this one. The good thing is that, and I think this data is very well. This is the first time I've included this slide in my equity outlook, because it does gives a lot of comfort level. So if you look at it, month on month, after touching low of 44,608 crore, month after month, the volume on the market is increasing. And that's a very happy news. Retail investors acting matured. They do understand that market is all about volatility. They are not panicking, but using this as an opportunity to add more. In fact, Mohit added some more funds, I think yesterday or day before yesterday, in his portfolio, purely because he also understands that volatility is a part of the part and parcel of the equity market. But if you remain committed to 3 to 5 years, this kind of volatility or this kind of a jitters doesn't matter. And that's why 44 has become 46, 46 has become 57, almost 58, and 58 now has gone to 61,682 crore. So it's a very happy sign, and a lot of credit should go to you people who you have behaved in a very matured manner to use dips in the market to increase more to the equity. And someone was asking me, if not equity, where would you park your funds? Is this the market to get out of the? The answer is no. And even if you get out, where would you park your funds? Today, if the rate of interest are going to, if rate of interest are going up, which has gone up, EMI will go up. Do you think real estate is going to do well? The answer is no. The savings bank account will give you post-tax returns much less than what the inflation is. So then, and so is the case with FD. So the moment you think, okay, if equity, where would I park my funds? You don't have much of an avenue, and gold is going nowhere in terms of its price movement. So I think that's the one thing which has happened. Which sector did well? Pharma did well. Telecommunication purely because of Bharti Airtel did very well. FMCG did close in green with 1.3%. A lot of credit should go to ITC because ITC do have a larger weightage in FMCG index. But otherwise, whether it's a PSU bank, whether it's a infra, whether it's a metal, whether it's a bank, whether it's an auto, whether it's a utility, whether it's a realty, I think it's all have come under very severe pressure in the market. Okay, some due to profit booking and some due to the underlying growth fear that industry may have, and hence they have not done well. As I was explaining you, telecom purely because Bharti Airtel is up by 10%. So the market sentiment was down, but Bharti Airtel was up by 10%. ISA Motor, which is a part of auto index, up by 9.3%. Cipla, part of pharma, did well. IndusInd Bank seems to be gaining some kind of a what we call traction, is up by 7. So if you look at Cipla, if you look at Sun Pharma, from the Divi's Lab, Dr. Reddy, Apollo Hospital, to some way related to the pharmaceutical, they have done well for this. I'm not very sure they will be able to sustain this kind of a performance for the month of October. The fact of the life that they did well, very well. ITC, which I was saying, the reason why FMCG index is good, because ITC is up by 3.7%. This is our stock of the month also. If you remember, when I made a presentation on stock of the month for ITC, I did say that looking at the market volatility, this company has a low downside risk, but upside potential is very good. And that's exactly what has happened. When the market turned little volatile in the month of September, this company closed in the red. Tata Motors down by 14%, so is the case with Bajaj Auto, 14%. So I'm not a little surprised with Bajaj Auto down by 14% because for the very simple reason, they are facing a lot of challenge on the export business, and Tata do have Bajaj Auto do have a lot of exposure to the export market. But what comes as a big surprise is the Tata Motors down by 14%, and which little surprising. And they have launched yesterday EV vehicles less than 10 lakhs rupees, which is a very sweet spot to announce EV. We do expect that Tata Motors, which has gone down by 14%, should see some kind of a bounce back purely because of the focus on the EV, but we will need to wait and watch. Hindalco down by 11%. If you remember, I was mentioning about metal company not doing well. Tata Steel was down by 8.3%. Many times, you people do get excited that if some company is declaring bonus or split. Tata Steel did announce split, and what happened post-split is the script went up. So I keep saying, if your reason to buy a particular company should never be the bonus or the split. Your reason to buy that company should be fundamentally sound. If that company is not done, it doesn't make sense to hold on to that company. And purely because this company declared bonus or split, and hence let me go ahead, then you would see what kind of returns you can make. In fact, it's not going to turn out to be a very productive strategy. How did 2022 pan out? We are 3 quarters now done with the 2022, only 1 quarter remaining, that is October to December. So in last 1 quarter, how do we do that? And we do get a sense that in 2022, we do expect Sensex and Nifty to close in the green. So we should close 2022 on a positive. Mid cap has outperformed the large cap, but small cap has underperformed both large and the mid cap, which is down by near about 3.4%. We do get a lot of. So yesterday, US market was down and out, am I right? More than 2% decline, and today Indian market is up by 2%. There are many people who believe there is no decoupling, and then you can read articles from experts suggesting why there is no decoupling, and I don't want to go into that argument because it makes a little sense for us to do that. What I want to showcase you is that whether decoupling is there or not. You look at the US indices in 2022 versus Nifty and Sensex, and you get the answer The Nasdaq is down by 31%. 31%. India is not down by 31%. S&P 500 is down by 24% almost. And Dow Jones by 20%, almost in a bear territory. We are hardly at the same level of 2020. And that's where the decoupling happens. Okay? When sometimes, few days if the US and the Indian market start behaving in a similar fashion, we say, oh, decoupling is over. Now Indian market will dance on the news of US market. That's not the case. We do continue to believe that there is a decoupling between the Indian market and the US market. What surprises us is a FII net sales of 7,600 crore. We were not expecting it, to be very frank with you. But it did surprise us, and we do expect they need to come back very strongly for the month of October. While DII, after being net sellers, have turned positive and they've invested in about 11,000 crores. So net, institutional investors put more money in the month of September. This is southwest monsoon progress as of yesterday. And as we can see, this belt continues to remain in a what we call a deficit. Nothing can be done. So hence we do expect the prices of paddy to go up. Rice will go up because there's a rice producing belt, and that would. Even the acreage of cereals have gone down, and that could further mean that price of cereal can go up. And that's one danger that we could see or expect, we should expect in terms of food inflation. Okay. Otherwise, what you see is excess is this portion 20% to 59, and normal is this. The green what you see in color is a normal, and these are the places where we assume excess rainfall. These are the states which I've covered to get a sense of what's happening with this. Okay. So what should we expect going forward? Should we expect this one? See, one thing which has clearly has been the focus of all central banks across the world, and the expert those who come is the inflation numbers. And if for some reason if there's a relief on the inflation numbers, markets should react very, very positively, because that will give some amount of confidence to the investors that central banks would not be as hawkish as they are, and they will soften their stand. So the inflation numbers are going to come from US and India by mid-October, and for some reason they are declining. I think that will give market a little thumbs up. We do expect GST collection that will get released tomorrow, somewhere in the region of 1.5 lakh, very closer to 1.5 lakh crore. And if that's going to happen, it will reinforce the investors' confidence that Indian economy is not slowing down. Why? Because GST collection is actual activity taking place in the economy. And if that is so, that will give you confidence whether that's or not. And that will get reflected on the Monday price movement. Now, the Navratri is on, the Dussehra is there, then we will have Diwali in the month of October. A lot of companies will give an indication what is the footfall in their retail stores, how has been the demand for that. And that will be closely watched by the market. Right now, we are getting a sense, and it is a little premature, but what we are getting a sense that festive sale has to be extremely good for India. We do expect good amount of sales happening for the auto, for the consumer durable, for the textile. And retailers are completely geared up to meet that festive demand. So whether this expectation of a good demand really turns out to be new would also going to decide what trajectory the market will behave. But we do expect the commentary to come out extremely good during the festive time. That's what our sense is. FII did turn negative. We do expect FII to come back strongly. And the word I want to harp on the strongly in October. Why? Because of India's growth story and despite so much gloomy scenario, we are expected to grow at 7%. That's what the RBI is saying today. And if that's so, I think India would be the shining star. in the global arena. I also get a sense now the way market has moved on from Russia and Ukraine crisis, and no one talks about it. Am I right? And that's not the way market is going to decide which direction it needs to go. The way Russia and Ukraine has become part and parcel of our life, I think very soon investors will realize that let it be recession, let it be inflation talk, we should now go back to the fundamental story. And let's give respect to the fundamental factors, and based on that merit or demerit, buy or sell on that particular sector or particular country. So I think we will, eventually investors will become, it's like COVID, when COVID hit us in the month of March, market reacted very negatively. And then we decided it's going to be with us for quite some time, so let's accept it. The same way, I think market will come to terms that inflation and recession are going to be with us. Let's accept as a part of our life and move on. So that's what happened. We are entering a result season, and next 30 days, a lot of companies would have come out with a lot of numbers. But there are two sectors I would personally watch very closely. Number one, IT, because that will really give a sense of what is happening globally in terms of all the customers are willing to spend money, or their sentiment has really been impacted because of recession and because of higher rate of interest. So that will give an idea. And FMCG companies. Why? Because the FMCG companies will give what's happening at the ground level. And if the ground level, there is a softness, it does create some amount of worry for the economy. So these are two sectors I will closely watch, and that's what market will be watching. And let's be mindful of what happens to this. What should be a strategy should be, we continue to believe that risk reward has turned in the favor of reward, and hence don't take any foolish decision to move out of the market. If you can't afford to put more money, not to worry, but don't take out money from this market. Your time horizon should be a little longer, and hence don't try to time the market. I know some investors are timing the market, especially on Mojo Infinity. And I must tell you, I'm making a prediction, they will repent themselves. Okay, how foolish they were because they were trying to time the market. So don't do that. Equity is all about 3 to 5 years. So how does it matter? क्या होता है, क्या नहीं होता है, एक महीने में, 15 दिन में, एक quarter में? Because ultimately we all want to create long-term wealth. We are not happy with short-term wealth, am I right? And wealth over a long period of time only will be substantial. And if you are really this one, you should not be concerned. Make volatility as a friend. And last but not, please leave your human emotions. ये कंपनी चलेगा नहीं, ये PSU stocks है, ये कंपनी तो बहुत सारा चल गया है, अभी तो उसमें चलना ही नहीं है. This kind of question, we keep getting it. These are nothing but the human emotions. And that human emotions, see, sometimes you will go right. I'm not disputing on that. But most of the time you will go wrong. And when you go wrong, you end up paying very, very high price. So, cost of omission and cost of commission, these are two factors one must remember. And sometimes the cost of omission, where you bring in your human emotions, are much larger than the cost of commission. Am I right? Don't do that. You will make error. I'm telling you that cost of omission would be very big the moment you bring in human emotions. So don't do that. I know many of you are attending this webinar are doing something similar. You are bringing your human emotions, and my request to all of you, please don't do that. I'm saying in your interest, and you will remember my word by October 2023 that how prophetic Sunil was when he was advising us, and we did not heed to his advice, and today we are not making the money that we should be making with this. With this, if you still want to create wealth from equity market, MarketsMojo is the right place for that. Why am I saying so? Because we have created a lot of wealth for the investors in the past, and we are very confident of creating wealth purely based on our IP. We do have a good subscription offer of 19,999 for 2 years. That works out to be about 10,000 rupees per annum, less than 30 rupees per day. This is at 50% massive discount. If you are not a member, you can become a member and start enjoying all the powerful feature of Markets Mojo. If you are already a member, you can definitely use this 50% discount offer to extend multiple times. With this, let's open the floor for question and answer. Over to you, Jason.
Okay, I'll start off with this first question by Mr. Manu. He says, Sunil Sir, do you believe that auto and auto ancillary sector shares would do well due to festive season buying of vehicles in October? If yes, then would Schaeffler India participate in that, which has been under pressure in the last 10 to 15 days?
So if you look at it, Manu, so first thing, let me tell you, the auto and auto ancillary sector should do well. I'm not talking only about the festive season. The reason I'm saying so, because this supply side shortage of chips are reducing very significantly. And as I was explaining you, that input cost pressure, which is crude, which is a lot of crude derivatives that get used in the automobile manufacturing, industrial metals, that is also started coming down. And that would ease pressure on the what we call automobile companies or auto ancillary companies. So that's where I believe that should that. As far as Schaeffler is concerned, I think Schaeffler has done extremely well, sir. Now my worry is that we do get little concerns about 1 day, 2 day price movement, and then we think, this company is not doing well, so what should I do? But if you look at this company, it has done extremely well. I do understand in 1 week. Can you see my screen, Jason, or no? Yeah. In last 1 week, it has outperformed the market. It's down only by 0.77%. Today, it's up by 3.17%. Outperformed the market. If you look at 1 month, it's up by 5.59%, while the overall market was down by 3.5%. 3 months, it's up by 40% as compared to 8.31%. So I don't get your question, why it's not doing well. In fact, it's done well. Now, no company can keep doing well every day. Of course, there'll be good and there'll be bad days. But you need to look at a little longer. Remember, Schaeffler India is also our stock of the month. We handpicked this company and posed that it's done extremely well. If you remember, what one of my slide in that I said, if there is a crisis in the Europe, Schaeffler India would be beneficiary of that. Why? Because the parent company may decide to source more product from Schaeffler India to meet the global demand, and that would make more money. That will bring more money to the Schaeffler. So Schaeffler India is a stock of the month also. It's our Mojo stock also. We do believe this company should do well. So I subscribe to your views that yes, Schaeffler India should do well. But I don't agree with that. If it has not done well in last 10-15 days, it should not do well this one, going forward also.
Okay, this next question by Mr. Prasad. With the price of natural gas hiked by 40% today, which companies would benefit and which companies would be affected? Any view on this?
So, sir, the formula has been decided by the government. This is very much new. The market was aware. The experts were aware. So, I'll explain you how the gas prices get decided. They look at last 6 months average plus 3 months of a cooling off. And based on that historical price movement, the gas price get decided in India. So, everyone knew what was the gas price 9 months back. Why? Because 6 months plus 3 months cooling off. And hence this was known. So it's already there in the price. Which company ONGC should get, because ONGC is the producer of gas. Reliance to some extent should get benefit, but Reliance is not a story of gas now. Reliance is a story of telecom. Reliance is a story of that is Jio. Reliance is a story of retail, and so on and so forth. So I don't think it's going to get too much benefit. I think the ONGC is one, and Oil India to some extent would be beneficiary. But what they gain in terms of gas prices, they do get lose out on the crude oil price because it's come down. And hence, would that be an outlier, any kind of direct beneficiary? I don't think so.
Okay, this question by Mr. Bali. Sir, ITC closed in red today even after huge rise in all indices. What should we make out of this?
Sir, I was just saying, ITC has been one of the best performing stock in the month of September. While overall market went down, ITC closed in the green. So, आप लोग एक दिन का प्राइस से कैसे? I don't understand. How do I explain you people, यार? बाली जी, कैसे मैं समझाऊँ आपको यार? एक दिन का प्राइस से आप you come to conclusion that had it gone up, should you think that this company will continue to do well? And if it goes down, does it mean that it's not going to do well? Such one-day price movement doesn't decide. We see the ITC is also a stock of the month, if you remember that. And we continue to believe it should do well. So don't make anything out of this. एक दिन price movement कुछ नहीं होने वाला है.
Okay, moving to this next question. This is by Mr. Investor Bees. Why the market gave uprun even after rate hikes by RBI? How does the rate hike affect the market?
See, logically, rate hike should, textbook explanation is that it should impact the market. Why? Because tendency is for people to move from equity to the debt because it will offer you higher rate of interest, isn't it? But the real life doesn't work. So textbook explanation would work, but in the real life. I think what market is looking at is that the GST collection, that numbers will come out tomorrow. I think that should be really robust. And market wanted to discount that in that, number one. Number two, RBI governor clearly stated in his statement that Indian economy is resilient as what is happening in the global. Of course, we do run a risk of that. But I think the resilience is one that factor that seems to be the underlying theme. But one day price movement of the market, should it be a matter of joy or a matter of depression? Neither. So, एक दिन का price movement से कुछ, you should never come to conclusion either way. Okay. I always believe that one day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 quarter, 1 year, what you should look at it is the fundamental is in place, whether it's for the company, it's for the country. And if that is in place, this one day price movement doesn't matter. If the fundamentals are weak, and even if indices goes up, you should not get excited. In fact, on the contrary, it gives you a good opportunity to get out of it. But if the fundamentals are strong, if the market corrects, it gives you a good opportunity to make money. So I think the market is trying to discount the future. That's what my sense is. Market believes. Otherwise, how does one explain 2% decline in the US and 2% gain in the Indian equity market? See the complete exactly opposite price movement that has happened, purely based on strong growth momentum Indian economy will have. And that's one reason why market discounted 50 bips rate hike from the RBI.
Okay, this question by Mr. Prakash. Dear sir, as Mohit sir explained yesterday, we should avoid averaging in downward movement of stock. But in case of portfolio, we should invest more when the portfolio is in downturn movement. Could you please explain this?
Yes. What Mohit was explaining you is the script downward, not the portfolio downward. So don't get confused, script and the portfolio. So let me explain you. We always say we don't believe in buy and hold strategy. That is for the stock. But we do say equities for 3 to 5 years. Am I right? So that's the difference between what Mohit was saying yesterday about averaging downward and portfolio. Portfolio, if you have the money and you don't need that money for 3 to 5 years, please put that money without any hesitations. Why? Because you will reap more benefit out of that. There's one investor who came down to our office. I don't know whether this investor is attending this webinar or not. This investor has a portfolio of about 250 crore. He came down to our office. He came down to meet Mohit and me almost 1.5 months back or so. He was having 65 crore to be invested. And when I asked him what is the strategy he follows, you know what was his strategy? I will always invest when the markets are down. I put more money when the markets are down. He doesn't know when the market will turn around, am I right? So he keeps using dips in the market to keep adding money. And that's how he has created his portfolio. Of course, his IRR on the portfolio is very good actually. So that's what you should be doing it. Don't apply logic to the script. I'll give you another classical example of what happened. There was a company called DHFL, where the reason I'm saying it was because it's no longer there. September 2018, the DHFL went down by 50%, 50, in a single day. A friend of mine from Kerala, he had invested one day before that in that company X amount. I don't want to name that amount, but it's a substantial amount. When the script fell down by 50%, he invested 2x more of that. And then he called me in the evening and said, he thought I will praise him, I'll congratulate him. देखो मैंने क्या अच्छा काम कर लिया. I brought down my cost significantly by adding double the amount which I invested yesterday. And I told him, are you aware why this clip is down by 50%? There is a genuine reason why this clip has gone down by 50%, and hence there is all the more probability that this company will further go down. And today this company is delisted. So point is the power of or destruction of averaging on the downside. कभी पैसा नहीं बनता. Of course, one or two company पैसा बन जाएगा and you will think you are right, but that's a human tendency. But overall, you will keep losing money. But buying when the markets are low and putting as a portfolio strategy is a very good strategy, excellent strategy to do that.
Next question by Mr. Frank. The first 3 quarters of 2022 have been bad. The fourth could be worse. As the quarter draws to a close, it's a good time to look back at where we've been and head to what future holds. In that case, neither it is a pretty picture for markets. To say it's been a rough year feels like a dry understatement. What's your comments on this?
So, Frank, I think the market nature is to remain volatile, isn't it? It's not that the market will always give you positive returns quarter after quarter and month after month. That's not the nature of the market. And that can never be the nature of the market, isn't it? So we need to understand and appreciate the volatility is going to be here, whether we like it or not. What we need to do is that you look at the portfolio and look at the little longer term picture. These events are then, in a hindsight, then you will say, yeah, these events were not bothering us. Why did we bother at that point of time? Because this market, whether we like it or not, whether it's a global financial crisis, whether it's a COVID, whether it's a taper tantrum and so on and so forth, market have absorbed all this negative news and start moving up or have moved up. So yes, I do understand that market has been extremely choppy in 2022 and we stated so. If you remember, Mr. Frank, when I did my equity outlook 2022, I did mention that very clearly. Don't expect money to be made. In fact, on the contrary, I made the statement, the first half of 2022 would be extremely challenging and whatever money that we are going to make is going to make in the second half of 2022. And if you remember, post-June, market has done a decent job. Am I right? And I do maintain the second half would be better. But I don't agree with your statement that fourth quarter would be bad. Why? Because you're drawing a correlation based on first 3 quarters and saying that for fourth quarter would also be bad. I don't think so. So what I stated in January 2022, I again repeat, 2022 would be much better. The second half of 2022 would be much better as compared to first half of 2022. I do believe that indices, both Nifty and Sensex, I don't expect that to happen for Dow or Nasdaq. I believe you are from US. I don't expect Dow and Nasdaq to be in green in 2022, but I do strongly believe that Nifty and Sensex would close 2022 in green. If you see the color background is green, and that shows our mood of the market.
Okay, so next question, Mr. Vijit, Jai Jagannath Sunil ji. I want to ask what went wrong with Shri City Union, just a week-long stint as MOJO stock. I'm still holding it in my personal portfolio. I guess it might be part of other portfolios as well.
Yes, Avijit, we are right. So, Avijit, the reason the stock comes in because our investment committee approved it. But to lose MOJO stock status, it happens automatically. Why? The score goes below 70, and if the score goes below 70, automatically that company is no longer a buy. If it is not a buy, how can it be a MOJO stock? But we continue to hold Sri Ram City Union in our model portfolio and MOJO Infinity portfolio. So you are right. You can continue to hold in a personal portfolio also.
Okay, picking up this next question. What's your view on ALLCARGO demerger? Also, what's your view on Tata Group's company's merger plan?
So, ALLCARGO demerger, I think always we have seen that demerger normally is a value accretive, and I think that's what can happen with ALLCARGO also. It's a buy in our system, but it's not a MOJO stock, or we are not holding in the model portfolio. Tata Group company's merger plan, I believe strongly it's a move in the right direction. Why? Because merger will bring a lot of synergy within the group companies, and that will be value accretive for the shareholders. Now, this kind of benefit doesn't accrue in 1 month or 1 quarter. This kind of benefits do accrue over a longer period of time. And hence we should wait for that to happen. But I think it's a move in the right. So if you remember, Mr. Chandra, who is the TCS chairman, he is not Tata Sons chairman, he had gone on the record saying that they want to, they made a statement that they will have only one company, one business. They stated very articulate, very clearly. And this is not that they articulated today. I think they articulated this couple of years back. But what happened, the COVID did disrupt the plan, and now the things are stabilizing. They are moving that direction. So they did with Tata Steel, that is steel business. They are also going to do with the Tata Motors NBFCs, and they will keep doing this exercise. And I think they would also do something with the insurance also. They will do something with the FMCG. In FMCG, they did something where only Tata consumer business will be the business that they would be managing all the FMCG business. So everything other will keep coming to this basket. So I think it's a move in the right direction, and it would be, I believe, shareholders from the point of view of the shareholders, I think it's going to be the value accretive.
Okay, next question, Mr. M.K. Singh. So what did the Mojo Investment Committee see in granules and rites beyond the numbers to be included as a Mojo stock?
Sir, so I think, I believe you are not a Mojo professional member, sir. So that's why you are asking this question. My request to sir, become a Mojo stock members, because had you been Mojo stock members, you would not have asked me this question. I hope you got my answer right, actually. What I intend to do that. So, sir, become a Mojo stock members, Mojo professional members, and you will come to know what are the stocks we are holding as a Mojo stock or not. For your information, rites is a Mojo stock. Our investment committee has approved this company as a Mojo stock. So I hope that gives the answer. Oh, so you are saying why did they make it as a Mojo stock? Oh, sorry. My apology. So granules, okay. So rights purely because of the kind of the Ministry of Railway has a plans. My apology, Mr. Singh. Sorry, my apology. I got your question wrong. Because we do believe that that's a growth potential that railway consultancy will offer to the rights, number one. Number two, anyway, our score of rights was above 70. Our investment committee did believe that this company can create wealth going forward for the investors. That's why I made it. Granules India purely simply because of the raw material cost is coming down, and that should benefit Granules India in terms of the maintaining the margins. At the same time, management post numbers, they did mention that they are looking at robust growth for the full year. And hence, we believe that top line growth will be there, number one. Number two, there will be growth in the margin. And both these factors made us believe that this company deserves to be the Mojo stock. Rights, after becoming a Mojo stock, has done extremely well. So our investment committee did a good job. I must congratulate our investment committee in that manner. They did a good job. Rights, after becoming a Mojo stock, is up by 9%. Why? While the overall market is down by 3% or so, while Granules India, as I see, why am I not? Granules India is up by 8.5. Can you see my screen? It's up by 8.45% versus the BSE is down by 5%. So our investment committee to make this company as a Mojo stock has been clearly right, and that's what see. While the oil market is down, both this company did purely because of growth prospects. So our investment committee also go through the con calls of the management and just try to understand whether management is sounding positive or not. For some reason, if the management is not sounding positive, we may not make those companies as a part of Mojo stock, even though the score may be above 70. So reason why we make, just to summarize, rights and Granules India Mojo stock, purely because of we do believe this company has a lot of potential to offer capital appreciation to the investors.
Okay, this question by Mr. Archit. Is HDFC Bank safe to buy in this range, 1,400 to 1,550? Large cap stock should be stable.
Sorry, is HDFC safe to buy in this? Sir, if you remember, I did one webinar exclusively on the HDFC Bank, suggesting that why this bank cannot create wealth for the investors. And I clearly recommended, please stay away from HDFC Bank, and rightly so. And post that, HDFC Bank announced merger with HDFC, and on one day, the bank went up by 10%, and then it could not sustain that gain, and it's still. So we believe, so, sometimes, we think that if the market is going to go up, the HDFC bank should go up and vice versa. ऐसा कोई जरूरी नहीं है, sir. We have seen that overall, like, see, for example, look at this. Now, what has happened to the Nifty 50? Company like Bharti Airtel went up by 10%, by the overall Nifty was down by 3%, which Bharti Airtel is a part of that. तो ऐसा जरूरी नहीं है कि अगर large cap चले गए तो सभी large cap चले गए. There will be few large cap which will not do well, and some will do well. That's a part and parcel of this. So while HDFC Bank is a buy in our system, as we speak, is a score of 75, our investment committee is not feeling comfortable to make it as a mojo stock, because our investment committee do believe that this company can underperform. Just can you see my screen? If you look at HDFC Bank, in last 1 week, it's down by 1.6, underperforming the market. 4.29 1 month. 3 months, underperforming 5.56. 6 months, 3.66. YTD, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year. This bank has been underperformer over a longer period of time. And while in 5 years, overall market did very well, isn't it? But this bank did not do well. For example, in last 3 years, Nifty 50 is almost up by 50%, 50. HDFC Bank is up by only 15%, 16%, clearly underperforming. So my sense is that it can continue to underperform.
Okay, moving to this next question. Dear Sunil, in your last seminar, you had mentioned that since the crude oil price has decreased, inflation will come down, but the benefits have not been passed on to the consumer. Then how will this reduce inflation?
So, you are absolutely right that government of India has not allowed. So today still there is under recovery, sir. So the price of crude oil when went up, you did not see the impact of crude oil price, price of petrol or diesel going up. Am I right? And it has started coming down now, but there is no change. Why? Because this OMC has taken a huge beating in terms of a huge under recovery previously. So they need to recover that. So then your question is, why would the inflation will come down? So there are a lot of crude derivatives, basically, that are not function of petrol and diesel. Am I right? It's a function of crude oil prices. When you process that, the price that get reflected, whether it's a packaging, whether it's a tire, and so on and so forth. And that will ease the pressure on the, what we call, like, for example, ATF, for example, which will get turbine full, aviation turbine full. So that has been fully passed on. And if that's the reason, we do expect prices to come down. Remember, it's not only India. There's many products which can get imported also, which is a function of crude oil price movement. Am I right? So, and that will ease the pressure on the inflation. So I hope that answers your question, sir.
Okay, I'll pick this question by Mr. Ravindra. Good evening. I joined Mojo in May and my portfolio went up by 25% in July. My portfolio score was also 90. But due to major fall in Vinyl and Schaeffler, it has come down to 7%. Why MM didn't inform about profit booking, and surprisingly, there was not much change in the Mojo scores of these two stocks. Why so?
So, Ravindraji, first, congratulations that you had a guts in the month of May to put money and your portfolio went up. I think what we are talking about is that I should be able to buy at the top of the price, and I should be able to, I should be able to buy at the bottom of the price and able to sell at the top of the price. वैसे होता नहीं है. And, in a hindsight, what we are saying is right that, Vinyl Chemicals गिर गया, so I should have got out. But had it gone up further, then what we would have said, why did we exit it so early? We should have waited for that, am I right? And I was showing you Schaeffler India has anyway outperformed. So, sir, my point is that this is not, you can't see month on month portfolio value and say, was ye hua to nahi hua, ye hua to. That's always been opportunity cost or opportunity loss that you would always have month on month. Ideally, one should be able to buy at the top of the price and again re-enter the same company at the bottom. But वो होता नहीं real life में. It's वो paper पे अच्छा दिखता है, real life में नहीं होता है. the very fact that you are up by 7%, it has come down to 7%. So you are still up by 7% portfolio value, which is good, very good for you, sir. Please continue doing that. Don't get too much excited by 1 month return. Don't get dejected also when the market goes down. You have taken a right step in the direction to become a Mojo professional member in the May. Have a time horizon of 3 to 5 years and you will make a lot of money. कोई fund manager, कोई investor life में cannot keep buying and selling the same script based on the this one कि ये अभी अच्छा level आ गया निकल जाओ ये अच्छा level है ले लो. That's not going to happen, sir. We will tell you when to exit from Schaeffler India because it's also stock of the month at the appropriate time. We continue to believe Schaeffler India can create a lot of wealth. In fact, someone did ask me on the Schaeffler India and I articulate my thoughts on that. We will tell you when to exit, but this is not the time. And there is no reason Schaeffler India, what it has seen, the 52-week high, there is no reason why it cannot cross that 52-week high level. So we are still optimistic on Schaeffler India. Vinyl Chemicals is little volatile. It was a micro cap. When it became a Mojo stock and post capital appreciation, it has become a small cap in our company, in our portfolio. We believe Vinyl Chemical is also a buy, should create wealth for the investors.
Okay, Mr. Sunil, that's it with the Q&A session for today.
So thanks a lot everyone taking time out and attending this webinar. As I told you, October will be a much better month as compared to September. And hence don't get clouded, your thoughts don't get clouded by the negative news that is surrounding you. Remain focused on the wealth creation and equity will create a lot of wealth for every one of us. With this, thanks a lot to everyone taking time out. Thanks a lot, Jason, for hosting this webinar. In fact, Jason is hosting this webinar on his birthday. He had a choice to go out for the party or remain in the office and host this webinar. So a lot of big salute to you, Jason, that you're hosting this webinar. And everyone of you should definitely wish Jason on his birthday. Thanks a lot, Jason, for hosting this webinar.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Sunil. I always find it a delight to host these webinars. And we do have an event tomorrow as well at around 6:30 p.m. Our Mojo professional investors would be getting an invite. It would be latest addition to our top stock picks. Looking forward to seeing you all come for the event. Goodbye and have a great weekend. Thank you so much.